What's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about tips and techniques to cast in and underneath the mangroves. These might not be your standard tips and techniques, but they're what I use every time I'm out, every time I'm casting towards the mangroves or wanting to get up in there close. These are the tips and techniques that I use and what I push on to other people to try to get them to get a little better of accuracy going. First thing I want to go over is our types of casts we do. We have I'm a right-hander, so I have my rod in my right hand here. We have our classic underhand, backhand cast from the left here. We go this way. We have our obvious over the head. And then we have our right hand, low cast. And then we also have what I like to call is a twirl cast. We're just gonna go ahead and call it a twirl cast. You're gonna actually kind of do a whipping motion with your rod in a circular motion, low and to the right. For a lefty, you'd just be low and to the left. If you were here, you'd be doing the same thing. I cannot do it. I'm not a lefty. You see the bass guys do it all the time with their bait casters. They do the little twirly whip, you know. So those are our types of casts that we use basically all the time when we're fishing. You know, most of the time we're doing a right hand cast. That's my strong cast, is my right hand cast, of course. Right hand low cast, my most accurate, best cast I can do. The next thing I want to talk about is the break method. I call it the break method. When I cast, almost 90% of the time when I cast, even when I'm in open water, I actually, after I release my finger from the line on the cast, I actually, with my left hand, am over top of the reel and actually letting that line slide through my fingers in my hand, just to give it a little less resistance if I want to, bring it down in a spot, or bring it, you know, shorten my cast, keep it out of the trees. Always right there, keeping it nice and steady. That also, little foresight here, helps with wind knots, I think, a little bit, because you're actually helping the line come off the spool in a better, straighter line. We'll get more into tips and techniques on how to avoid and reduce your chances of a wind knot, but that's going to be in a whole nother video. The break method can be very effective if you can do it right. Also, the break method can reduce your splash. Now, if you're sight fishing redfish and you want a nice, somewhat silent presentation when you cast, you're going to want to use that break method, because you're going to want to slow that bait down right before it hits the water to give the bait less speed right before it hits the water, and it's going to make less of a splash, and you're going to spook off a lot less fish. Next thing we're going to get into here is knowing when to use what type of cast. Now, if you go ahead and look at this diagram here, I just took this random picture from one of my videos of a bank. I've actually drawn in some slotted lines here, dotted lines, to show what I would do, certain types of casts that I would do. The yellow is representing overhand casts, and the blue is representing either a left hand underhand, or a underhand cast, or a twirl cast to the right, or a regular right hand low cast. The only time I'm really overhand casting at the mangroves is when I have a V, and that's when you have a branch tree cluster sticking out here and a tree cluster sticking out here, and there's a nice area right in the middle that you can kind of sink your bait right into. When you're casting at the mangroves, you don't want to lob it. You don't want to go way high in the air. You want to keep a nice low trajectory, and get under. You don't want to come from the top. You're going to get stuck in the trees almost every time, or you're going to end up bringing it right to the edge of the mangroves and dropping it right down straight next to it and making a huge splash, potentially scaring off fish that could be under there. With your types of casts and using the breaking method. Using the breaking method on different types of casts is going to give you different results. If you cast from the right, if you just cast a right hand cast, your lure's kind of making more, depending on where you let it go at, your lure is slightly making an arc from right to left. So when you hit that break method, it's going to sling your bait to the left. Same thing on the right or on the left hand cast. If you, depending on where you release your bait in the cast, when you hit that braking method, it's going to go from the left to the right. When you're overhand casting, that brake method is going to bring it, of course, straight down, depending on what the wind's doing. And that's what I want to get into next. If we're on a really, really windy day and I'm trying to hit a target, I'm low casting. Low cast as much as I can, keep it nice and fast cast, straight beeline to the spot, hit the brake method right before it hits the spot. It's the most risky, of course, because you're fighting the wind and you're really beaming your bait in there to try to fight the wind. So that's going to result in a lot of tree hangups, which you should be getting tree hangups. If you're not getting caught in the trees at least once or twice a day when you're fishing the trees, like say in the summertime, you're not getting close enough. Just plain and simple. And the last little tip I have is you got to get out and practice. Practice makes perfect, and the more you do it, the better you're going to be at it. But that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.